Please remember, nothing in this video should be taken as financial advice. Fall 7 times and stand up 8.
Can you think of an example of the future being here right now, but most people aren't aware of it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, we're using blockchain technology, and institutions are using blockchain technology, facilitating $15 billion a year of cross-border payments flow. Crypto is pretty mainstream at this point. Institutions are using it. You probably don't even know many of your payment providers, when you're sending money cross-border, are probably Ripple customers.
That's a pretty bold statement to say that every single payment provider is probably a Ripplenet customer. So we've seen the development that's happened. 300 plus banking partners is a very old figure. It's a 2017 figure. You have to wonder how many Ripplenet partners there are today. And every time I've done a cross-border transaction to one of the major currencies, it happens pretty instantaneously, probably a 15-minute gap, but it's not days anymore.
Right? You need one of your competitors to really go out and do it. One of these older legacy institutions to go out and do it, for others to really then follow suit. And that's only a matter of time until it happens. Our hypothesis is very much it will happen. The question is not if, the question is when. But the problem with the banking system, we're familiar, right? Ripple's products, Ripplenet and ODL, really were built to help remove some of those frictions of traditional banking systems, specifically with regards to cross-border payments.
Once one of the largest banks decides to jump in, all of the competitor banks are going to jump in as well. It's going to start off a chain reaction. However, still, there is something in the United States that's telling the banks don't do it. So once we see one of the large banks in the United States jump in, they're all going to follow suit.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things is institutional adoption. I know that's something that people have been talking about for years, but we really haven't seen it in kind of a traditional way. And the reason being is because institutions acting as fiduciaries for their customers really need to have clarity around regulation. And so, this is a positive step, but this does not bring full clarity. And so, I would say that we've been in an environment where, capital has been constrained, and because of the uncertainty, institutions have not been in the space. To the extent we get more, positive developments, just like we saw last week, that could really be the catalyst to drive what I would say real capital into this industry. And that's going to do a couple things. It's going to accelerate innovation in the industry, and it's also going to accelerate adoption, I think, both on the institutional side, but it'll also drive more retail folks into the space and understanding what the different types of innovations are in blockchain. So to me, that's really what we're looking for. A little bit more clarity. This is a positive step, but a progression here so that institutions can really come in and bring capital with them into the space. And I think that's really what's lacking, but I do think that that's coming here because the space is not going away. There's so much money that's already in the space. It's not going away. So we just need to get better rules of the road. And I think that's what's coming next.
Judge Torres has ruled that XRP is not a security and nobody can change that. That's written in law. The issue is there's still ambiguity in the market regarding institutions. Institutions manage other people's money. They have a fiduciary responsibility to them. They can't invest in crypto right now because there's no clear rules of the road. If they were, it would move the markets. That's a very bullish sentiment for the rest of crypto if institutions were able to get in. But right now, if you were to take $1 million out of crypto and put it in your bank account, your bank would most likely debank you.
This is what blockchain technology is meant for, and this is what you can expect from it. I think we're very lucky to have seen the last 4 years with crypto and innovation and DeFi really booming. And really taking a life of its own. And you're seeing folks like, as you've seen, DBS and JP Morgan and a number of others launching pilots, figuring out how to use DeFi. So those conversations have gotten significantly easier. In fact, we used to call institutions and say, hey, we want to talk to you about XRP Ledger. We want to talk to you about blockchain technology. We want to talk to you about what it can do for your business. Now those institutions are calling us. So it's really a different. It's been very pleasant, rewarding to see that our hypothesis is playing out as we expected.
The roles have been reversed. Ripple has been around the crypto space for over 10 years, and now banks are reaching out to them to talk about the XRP ledger. If you pair that with all the products Ripple has offered, the CBDC platform, Ripple Lend, and DeFi products, they're creating a vast ecosystem where XRP is the layer zero amongst any blockchain, any centralized system. It doesn't matter. The federated sidechains allows all to bridge to XRP.
I don't want to be negative or to sort of dampen the collective enthusiasm that people have these days about the alleged emerging multipolarity in the world, but I think we sort of need a bit of a reality check. What we're seeing with the BRICS project, with multiple countries applying for or are interested in joining BRICS, and the talk about creating an alternative currency for trade between BRICS members and so on. I think we need to realize that this is not a phenomenon that is ambushing the U.S. or the West. Many people, regular people, may not be aware of this, though it's not secret information by any means. Both the concept of BRICS and the term BRICS was launched by Goldman Sachs some 20 years ago. Goldman Sachs. There was a man named Jim O'Neill, who was the chief of Goldman Sachs back in 2001. And he coined the term BRICS and somewhat arbitrarily grouped Brazil, Russia, India, and China, and later South Africa together, because he predicted that, largely because of demographics, that these economies would grow and overtake the G7 in importance within the next 40 years. He believed that globalization could not sustainably continue to be American-dominated, because basically that was just too politically messy and too blatantly imperialistic. So Goldman Sachs created the idea of BRICS.
In 2013, Jim O'Neill, a Goldman Sachs head, wrote a book about the BRICS nations. He talked about BRICS branching off from the United States because the United States has too much political power in the rest of the world. Well, this has come to fruition. Now, Jim O'Neill is on CNBC saying that he doubts this even will have some impact, and he's kind of downplaying the whole situation. But this is a larger problem. This is Triffin's dilemma. Triffin's dilemma is, at home with the world reserve currency, you can't fight inflation because the rest of the world needs the dollar. So when you fight inflation by making higher interest rates and constraining dollars, the rest of the world suffers. And that's why Biden has proposed the CHIPS Act and started onboarding a lot of the industry that was offshore during the globalization period. The United States has to tame inflation, and that means there's no more dollars being printed that the rest of the world can use. The rest of the world has to come together and figure out trade routes that exclude the dollar, because there's not enough dollars in circulation on the global front to move all the goods and services around. So there's enough people in the BRICS nations getting together saying that we don't want to use the dollar in the first place. We would rather set up a distributed ledger type of system. And that's exactly what's happening. We're seeing this happen in real time. The BIS had Project Enbridge that with the People's Bank of China, the UAE, etc. So these countries have been planning this for a very long time, and it's not exactly against the U.S. It's more so how to deal with Triffin's dilemma, because it has to be dealt with at one point. And the United States is still going to benefit for a while before this transition takes place. But this transition is happening because it has to happen. The rest of the world will move to different assets instead of dollars for international trade.
And the reactions, like I said, are incredibly positive. Institutions want to use blockchain technology and crypto. They just need to figure out how to do so in a compliant way. After all, if you look at a traditional financial services institution or any institution, right, their primary business, and especially the successful ones, typically they've survived and gotten where they are and as successful as they are without crypto and blockchain technology.
All wealth is headed towards public open ledgers. When wealth is on public open ledgers or crypto assets, there is immense benefits. A lot of these projects have been already tested with private and permission systems, but have failed. And they failed because they're not public and permissionless ledgers. So when you create systems that are out in the open, you're open for liquidity. Now, what's going to happen is KYC AML compliance. They're going to track and trace every single wallet that's out there and to make sure that you're not a bad guy that's dipping into these pools or using financial assets. Once your wallet connects to a wallet that is a bad guy, your wallet is now red flagged. So they're creating these advanced systems that are able to track who sends what to whom. And they're trying to do this in a zero knowledge type of way. So they don't know who you are. They just know if you're good or bad. They have a green or red check mark next to your name.
Talk about secret cabal, and you didn't quite put it that way, but that was sort of, aren't we into conspiracy theory land? It's not a secret. I can name them all. It's Christine Lagarde and Janet Yellen and Tim Geithner and Mark Carney, probably the number one villain in the whole thing. Tim Cook, Jeff Bezos, the heads of the major tech companies, Mark Zuckerberg, the Davos crowd, but more than that, and they totally get it. These are smart people in addition to being immensely powerful, but they want this because.
Sorry, Jim. What do they want?
What they want, and I talk about this in my book, The Road to Ruin, 2016 book, The Road to Ruin. I explain this in great detail. Problem with being 10 years ahead of your time is that when it comes true, everyone forgot you said it. But pick up that book and you'll get the blueprint. Look, what they want in a nutshell is world government, world money, and world taxation with a small group in control. That's what they want. The question is, how do you get there? The answer is, and Karl Popper explained this 70, 80 years ago, and George Soros adopted it. It's called piecemeal social engineering. It's like slicing a salami. Don't take the whole thing at once. Just slice. People don't notice, or give yourself enough time, and you'll eventually get to where you want to be. So the euro was a big step in that direction. Because no more lira, no more drachma, no more pesetas, French francs. And now, NAFTA was a big step in that direction. No more borders. So they want to eliminate borders. They want to eliminate different kinds of money. The central bank digital currencies, even if you do it, this is CBDC, euro. It's not a cryptocurrency, by the way. The message traffic is encrypted. It is digital. But it's not a cryptocurrency because there's a single ledger controlled by the government and they can see what you're doing. This is the ultimate social control tool.
Where are they traveling? How are they traveling? What are they eating? What are they consuming on the platform? So individual carbon footprint tracker. Stay tuned. We don't have it operational yet, but this is something that we're working on.
This is a MasterCard executive telling you how they're going to monitor and trace everything that you do and everything that you buy. A set of rewards and punishments for what the status quo wants. Now, this is already happening to a degree right now. If you were to work in the adult entertainment industry, you cannot accept payments. You get debanked. And they found a workaround by using crypto assets. Well, now crypto assets are causing people to get debanked. The banking industry is actively using AI to monitor everything that you buy, everything that you do. So this dystopian nightmare that people are talking about, it's already here. It's already in the making.
Of you. And go back to Joe Biden's speech in Independence Hall in September 2022, just ahead of the midterm elections, art directed by Leni Riefenstahl. I mean, might as well have been, right? Everything that they use that she invented at the Nuremberg rallies, putting the leader up on a pedestal. She was the one who dug trenches to put the cameras in the trenches so you'd be looking up even higher at the leader, the vertical lights, the blood red backdrop. Everything about that, the art direction of that speech was right out of Nuremberg. And, she was a great art director, and more. But what did Biden say? He said half the country are enemies of the people. He said, not all you Republicans, but you MAGA Republicans, well, that's the majority of the Republican Party, are enemies of the people. So now you got Biden telling you you're an enemy of the state. You got the government knowing, actually, it's a kind of thought control, because using inference, I can tell by what you're reading, what you're buying, what you're attending, et cetera, kind of what you're thinking. Combine that with artificial intelligence and GPT technology, and now you got a target on your back and expect to knock on the door from the FBI goon squads.
There's artificial intelligence that reads facial emotion. So there's facial emotion recognition technology, which is AI powered, and store users will use it to determine if somebody is stealing from the store. It could find out if you're even thinking about stealing from a store.
Got you on camera here. Pick you up.
The would-be thief is stopped in their tracks thanks to state-of-the-art technology. Store director Rick Sanchez says they've been using AI to prevent shoplifters for 6 months. Have you ever poached somebody and the AI was incorrect?
No. No.
Every time it's been spot on.
Spot on. Every time.
The AI is able to detect thieves based on body gestures.
This is AI. So this is all that's required for us to deploy the software into any given store.
Kieran Moji with Vision, a French-based company that has expanded to Silicon Valley, he says the technology utilizes existing camera systems to spot shoplifters.
We're detecting for a few dozen different gestures. Some of the gestures being sliding things in your coat pocket, or sliding items in your back pocket, sliding items into your backpack. Various gestures like that are what we're detecting for.
After those gestures are detected, it alerts a manager in real time on their phone. Sanchez says he gets 10 to 12 alerts every day.
We have already entered a brave new world. This is already happening with or without digital currencies. To quote Anya Manuel, if we were to have national champions, Ripple would be it. Perseverance is the key to success. Never give up and keep making efforts. It's often the last key in the bunch that opens the lock. Thanks, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the show. Please take a moment to like and subscribe. If you enjoy content like this, please consider joining my Patreon or my Ghost site, dmjr.ghost.io.